When I was a kid, the idea of making my own Mario game was such a cool concept. I remember downloading Super Mario Bros. X on my family computer and trying to make my own levels. I didn't understand it in the slightest, but I mean, hey, the effort was there for an 11-year-old. And when Mario Maker came out, it was quite literally one of the coolest games of all time. And then Mario Maker 2 came out, and that was a game too. Mario Maker's existence shows that making your own Mario game wasn't just a dream that I had as a kid, but so many other people had too. And that's where fan games come into play. There are so many fan games that were just made by kids who wanted to make their own Mario game. Now, some are of questionable quality. I mean, just go to the Game Jolt New tab, you're gonna see some crazy stuff. But there are some truly incredible Mario fan games out there. The dedication and talent you have to make a whole-ass Mario game for zero profit is commendable. And also Psycho Waluigi, which isn't really about Mario himself, but is definitely still one of my favorite fan games. So today, I'm gonna shed some light on a itty-bitty little Mario fan game, titled My Mario Game. Now, don't be fooled by these silly screenshots, because trust me when I say that 14-year-old Scott really put his heart and soul into this game. Okay, I lied. It's a horror game. You got me. As much as I want to go for a fake out video and then like 10 minutes in be like, ooh, surprise, it's actually scary, I just don't have it in me. My Mario Game is a Mario horror game made by No Stud Entertainment, who's actually featured on this channel before. They made the Sonic horror game Sonic and Sega Bootleg Collection, which was a fake Sonic bootleg collection about like, I think it was a dead fox? I don't know, it was a cool creepypasta game and it had So Mario. What else could you ask for? Editing bup here. So No Stud Entertainment still did technically make this game, but now they just go under the name of the developer, which is Tiago Aqua. Just wanted to include this to clear things up. I actually stumbled upon this on Twitter when it first came out, and I did play a bit of it, but I never truly finished it until now. Now, I've only heard good things about this game, but let's get honest. Is it really as good as I heard it is? Yes, it is. I implore you, go play the game first yourself, and then come back and watch my goofy attempt to play through it. It is a very unique Mario horror experience. So with that, let's dive into the scuffed madness that is My Mario Game. Opening the game, you get that classic Game Maker loading screen. This loading screen either means you're in for a banger or the worst experience of your life. You're met with a message from Scott, the fictional 14-year-old who made this game. Hi guys, this is my first video game. My name is Scott and I am 14 years old. I really like Super Mario games and I have a dream to work at Nintendo, so I wanted to start making games. This is my Mario game and it's called Super Mario Adventure. He seems like a great guy. It's a shame he's a main character in a horror game. The title screen keeps up that gorgeous scuffed fan game feeling. Strange techno music that doesn't fit at all, horrible graphic design, and mismatching sprites and backgrounds. I've never really seen a game try to mimic that fan game made by a kid in the late 2000s vibe quite like this. I honestly love it so much. You explore the classic Mario level 1-1 while playing as the Mario from Super Mario World, I guess. Not only that, but you are stuck with the worst gameplay known to the human race. The jumping feels weird, you get stuck on the side of every block, you die if you try to stomp the Goombas, the coins don't make the right noise, it's just perfect. And also, the music is just a simplified remix of the normal 1-1 theme. It's really giving me nostalgia for the old Mario fan games. Don't even give me the scary stuff anymore, just let me play this. Okay, not really, but a normal Mario fan game where it goes from this to a really solid and well-made platformer is a great idea. Anyways, on to the next level, which is definitely more fan-made than the last one. You've got some fake moving platforms, lots of coins, this strange question block maze, I think, and to top it all off, the game crashes when you get to the end. I think it's part of the whole scuffed experience the game's going for. Let me just boot the game up again real quick. He really just should have bought some gamer subs using code TOBUP at checkout for 10% off of his entire order. I'm telling you now that if this kid tried good, this would have never happened in the first place. Caffeine free, of course. After that analog horror-ass encounter, the game just immediately transforms itself. From a random mess of Mario assets to an actually really well-made take on a Mario fan game. Also, it opened up the game twice for some reason, and it took me like a whole minute to realize what was going on. Classic Toad Bump moment. Hit that subscribe button if you agree. You also have a control screen now where it says you need to hit shift to sprint sometimes. I don't think that's good. It's very Mario All-Stars feeling. Well, I mean, I guess their backgrounds and stuff are used from Mario All-Stars, but you know what I mean. This is just a pretty standard Mario romp, except you still can't hit the question blocks. Also, you can double jump and do a spin, which the spin was unironically one of the most useful additions to the gameplay they could have added. After the 1-1 level, you go through the same second level as before, but this time it's just a bit more polished. It was also easier to get the coins this time because I wasn't being glued to every wall I went up against. Instead of crashing when you finish the level like last time, you actually move on to another level, this time being an underground one. This is also where I died for the first time because although the game isn't as scuffed as before, it's still a little buggy. Nothing that really ruined the experience, but just something I noticed multiple times. Speaking of things I noticed, who's that little fella spying on me? I'm sure it's fine, probably just a big Mario fan who's too scared to say hello. Once you reach the end, the main pipe is actually blocked off, which I mean is fine. If you have a pulse and have played Mario before, you are obligated to go to the top of the level and look for warp zones. And thankfully there's one right here. Oh, is everything good, Mario? Entering the pipe leads you to a new unique underground level with a more somber tone and your computer name replacing Mario's. Finally, Toad Bump is Mario. There's also some new gimmicks at play here with these leaf blower thingies in this coin that'll make certain blocks transparent. I guess another gimmick that was added was real ass cars. I must have missed the Mario game where they added those. Wait, what am I saying? They did that in Mario Kart 8. Eventually, you come across this area that's almost like a parking lot, cars scattered about. The music stops as you can move on to the next level. This one takes place inside of a castle, which has you chasing down this faceless brown Mario, presumably the same person who was watching you before. I don't know if there's an official name for this creature, so I hereby dub them as Plunge. I named them that because they tried to get me to plunge into a hole to my death, so there you go. Say hi to Plunge, everyone. Editing Bup here, so after scripting, recording, and beginning to edit this video, I discovered through the Wikipedia House of Horror Brews that this character does actually have an official name, and his name is Guilt. I do refer to him as Plunge throughout the entire video, and I probably will continue to because I think that's a silly little nickname, but I just wanted to make it known that he does have an actual name and even has official art, so yeah, pretty cool. Back to the video. Chasing Plunge, you get some more lore drops, which are likely from the perspective of Scott, the one who made this fictional fan game. At least that was my guess at the time, but bit of a spoiler, I was right. I want to believe that he will be in a better place, outside of the problems that normal people have. I'm not sure I should be here. I deserve something else. I felt what we always feel when someone dies, the sad awareness, now futile, of how little it would have cost us to be more loving. Jesus Christ, Mario, all those Goombas you killed finally getting to you? If you haven't picked up on it already, there's a lot of themes of loss and grief kind of scattered throughout this whole game, and it's kind of weird to say that this is dark for a Mario horror game, because think about it, any other bloodied-eyed Mario that I've talked about is not going to take the time in the game to talk about, like, repenting for their sins and the meaning of loss. After making your way through the castle area and reading that final message, you finally catch up to Plunge. But now it's time that he catches up to you. Oh shit, there's like 100 of him! Remember earlier when you learned that you needed to sometimes sprint? This would be one of those times. You just gotta book it as more and more plunges proceed to chase you down. It might take a few attempts to get used to the layout of the level, but after that, you should be good to beat it. Chased into a tunnel, you're trapped by a wall as this ambient noise begins to play. Suddenly, the noise is interrupted by a truck, and you're hit by, well, a truck. I might have a pretty good idea what happened to the person Scott was talking about now. My suspicions are confirmed as after the truck hits you, the game cuts to black as Mario fades in to give you some more lore. My father was a famous writer. He was working on a science fiction novel called The Scolian Project. My mom, I don't talk to her much. She's more concerned with her work. Sometimes I try to talk to her, but she doesn't usually listen to me. She even gets upset sometimes. Generally, I tend to talk more to my friends. They were quite worried and sorry for what happened to me. Everything happened so fast that I couldn't react properly. After that very frightening scene, we can finally relax in a normal Mario level. Ah yes, I remember the iconic gore pits from Super Mario World. As you walk through this weird corpse-littered tunnel, you begin to see messages like "your fault" and other scary little quips on the wall. The music kicks up to this intense tune, and now you have to traverse this hellish dungeon. You just have to survive the onslaught of different areas and make it to the doors at the end. This includes climbing upward to avoid being crushed, some very out of place Goombas, and another encounter with the plunge horde from earlier. This all culminates in one big part of the game, the locked door. According to the game, to move forward you'll need to deliver the lie that you maintain and face the guilt, otherwise you'll never be able to come out and accept it. A very strange way to say collect 5 keys, but hey, I'm here for it. There's 5 different paths you could take to grab a key, all with varying obstacles. One requires a lot of climbing, one has you grabbing that gray coin mentioned earlier, and one is a really annoying path including the leaf blowers. Also, there's a crashed car just kinda chilling here. Lore Easter egg spotted. After grabbing all 5 keys, the door that was previously locked is wide open as the game proceeds to go quiet. In stark contrast to before, you're now in this ethereal white and gray plane that feels a lot more calming compared to the past worlds we've been in. I can't really make sense of what the background is or why the ground has what appears to be windows and rooms inside of it, but my guess is that this is like heaven or something? Or maybe it's purgatory? I don't know, but there's a pretty good chance Mario isn't dead because he can still die here after all. What would that make him? Double dead? I don't think so, pal. Instead of explaining every single part of this level in detail, I'll just say that I really enjoy the strange, angelic feel of this aesthetic. It contrasts well with the previous stages and helps support the story that this game is going for, which you'll learn a little more about soon. Also, while trying to read this message, I got stuck in the walls and floor. I guess you can no-clip through heaven if you try hard enough. The message I was trying to see reads, "The actions that one commits have great consequences, even those that are not violent." It's a shame the rest of the messages on the walls are just giant splatters now. Or maybe this is a secret Bendy and the Ink Machine prequel, who knows? Eventually the game returns to its scare factor as you eventually come across what looks like a corpse as the music cuts. You don't remember? You started this. Actually, I don't remember, you're right. Alright, now I guess I'm trapped in a room? Maybe it's bugged again. I'm sure if I stand still or something, then something will— oh god, Plunges of all fucking run for it! The world warps into this green dark mess as Plunge, or I guess Plunge Max now, begins chasing you. Messages will also flash on the screen, things like "your tantrums killed him" and "murderer." These messages show those themes of guilt again, but I'll make sure to lay all the story stuff out by the end. I won't lie, I died a ton doing this between the millions of plunges that were chasing me and me just trying to learn the level layout. I don't think this is necessarily a bad portion of the game. I think I just suck at anything that has to do with Mario. Through lots of deaths though, I managed to outrun the Italian assailants and run into a black screen. I don't know if I did something wrong or if everything happened by chance, but what I do know is I will have to face it one way or another. I have seen death in front of me. I have screamed and I have been confused, but I don't want to let myself be carried away by guilt because I don't even know if I deserve it. If I am guilty of something, I would have already known it. So, if you haven't put things together so far, the narrator, likely Scott, feels responsible for causing the car crash that led to his father's death. Throughout the zany Mario adventures, he learns that he shouldn't be holding himself responsible for something that was ultimately out of his control. Also, when I was at this point, I still had zero clue if he was dead or not. It's not clear till the end on that, but we'll get to it, don't you worry. Anyways, back to more ethereal planes, this time one that's out in space. There are these weird gooey plunges that walk around that you can actually defeat. I like the little noise they make when you defeat them, such a silly gloopy guy. To be able to move on, you have to defeat all of the gloopy plunges in the area. I don't think anybody in their entire life has said the phrase gloopy plunges before. It's a little easier to die during this part just because there's bigger gaps and now there's enemies, but it's not really hard and you can move on to the next area. Now, you have to just guess which door to go through in order. Go through the correct door and you move into the next area. Go through the wrong door and you get jumped by a bunch of plunges. I hate it when that happens. Oh no, 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 no! Besides a few enemies blocking the doors, there's no indications, and it's really just a guessing game which one is right. Get it right 8 times in a row, and you win. Exploring onward, more messages display. It'll be difficult to cope. Do you understand what I'm going through? It's not just the incident, all of this has left me marked for life. I have lost everything. All of this goes down while you chase yet another plunge through a small castle area. Eventually, you are once again trapped in a small room. Wonder what's gonna happen here. Oh, come on, you didn't need to count me down to my death. That's not cool at all. What the hell, asshole? Oh god, run! Plunge Max is back once again, and he chases you down in yet another level where you need to escape the horde. This one was a bit trickier because there was more opportunities to fall into a pit, but give me enough caffeine and time, I'll get it done. Outrunning the horde, you eventually come to a pipe which leads to another black screen, with more text explaining the story. Somebody is asking Scott questions, including how he survived the crash, and Scott answers in the only reasonable way, pulling out a scuffed driving Game Maker game. I mean, that's one way to answer the question, I guess. You now have to play a completely different game where you drive a car on the road and try to go for as long as possible. Also, you can destroy cop cars. 10 out of 10 game, best game I've ever played. After playing for a little while, the game cuts to black, and now there's only one car on the road, yours. Scott tells about how the accident happened, with his dad not paying attention at all, going insanely fast, and eventually crashing into a pickup on the other side of the road. As we watch this unfold, a picture of Scott appears on the screen as screams and sirens can be heard. Is this still about Mario? More dialogue goes on about how an autopsy on Scott's dad revealed something that might alleviate Scott's guilt about what happened. We then get a whole ass report on his dad, including the details of the cause of death and factors leading to it. This concluded that the true cause of the crash was because his father was drunk, not because of Scott as Scott had previously thought. That's a pretty big bombshell just to drop like that. So of course we cut right back to Mario. This haunting music begins to play as the game transitions back into a Mario game, having you run past all of these silhouettes of Plunge in a darkened stage. After running for a while, you hit the end and meet back up with Plunge Max. The game wraps up at this point, so I'll just play the ending for you to see. Holy shit, SpongeBob made this game? The story of Scott wraps up, and so does this game. I'll say, as someone who went into this thinking it was gonna be another bloody Mario game, I was pleasantly surprised. I've seen Mario horror games take on unique and dark topics before, but very few go to the level that my Mario game does. Posing as a fan game from a kid, and then turning into a tragic story about said kid is honestly a genius idea. I know pretending to be a bad and broken game isn't a new concept, but I don't see it done nearly as much as it should be. The story was built up well and never made me feel lost at all, and also I forgot at the end of the game a fake news article about the crash pops up. That is so cool. But I did not need to know about Lily Allen starting a feet OnlyFans. The gameplay was also something I love to see in creepypasta games. Actual gameplay. I got stuck on a few of the chase scenes for a bit, but it was never frustrating. I also really enjoyed the character of Plunge. I think we really bonded. This game just has such a cool concept. It's not exactly breaking the fourth wall, except for that one time you used my name for some reason. I don't know why it did that. But integrating multiple games into one and using all of these different games to tell one big story is just so damn cool. I don't know if it was exactly scary. I mean, I did find that first scare we get with the kid talking kind of creepy, but I was never like terrified. Listen, I'm pretty numb to creepypasta games at this point, but I can totally see me being creeped out a bit playing this late at night. And besides the bugs or maybe a couple scenes I wasn't a fan of, this game was pretty damn good. I'd even go as far as to say it's one of my favorite Mario horror games. It definitely gets up there. Go check out Tiago Aqua's stuff and drop him a follow. Now, let's get a sequel to this game where Luigi feels guilty over stealing an old lady's purse. Oh, or where Wario has a gambling problem. Enough of that quality Mario horror game though. Creepypastas are supposed to be cliched as hell. Somebody give me some hyper-realistic blood. Stat. Oh, thank God, that's much better.
Shakes the soul and makes you feel alive.